We're good in here? Okay. You all good? Everybody? He's still catching up over there. Let me get one more look right now. You're welcome. You ready down there too? Yeah? Good. Well, good afternoon. I want to thank you all for coming. The purpose of this press conference is nothing less than to ask for our community's help in our investigation. As you are all aware here, our community experienced an officer-involved shooting on Saturday night. In the interest of transparency and in an attempt to quell the rumors that often develop during these type of events, that's why I'm here and that's why all of you are here. The Fort Pierce Police Chief, Diane Hobley-Burney, asked for my office to investigate this incident involving two of our officers because she wants to ensure impartiality in this investigation. Our role, and let me be clear, my role, is that this investigation is going to be objective, it's going to be independent, it's going to be professional, it's going to be thorough, and we're going to offer a comprehensive investigation of this very unfortunate incident. As our community, the decedent, his family, the officers involved, all require this and expect this. What we know right now, factually, is that a few minutes before midnight on Saturday, April 23rd, DeMarcus Seamer was traveling on North 19th Street in Fort Pierce. An officer from the Fort Pierce Police Department attempted a traffic stop on his vehicle. We do not know the reason of the traffic stop at this point. However, we will find out as our investigation continues. Evidence indicates that the vehicle did not initially stop, and the officer radioed for backup. When the backup officer arrived, Mr. Seamer did stop. We do not know what transpired between the officer and his initial contact with Mr. Seamer. We do know, however, that at some point during the stop, Mr. Seamer attempted to flee the scene and in doing so ran over one of the officers at his vehicle. The backup officer was trapped inside the vehicle. Subsequently, in a confrontation outside the vehicle, the officer discharged his weapon, striking the driver. First aid was rendered on scene, but unfortunately, Mr. Seamer died on scene. What are we doing now? Today, we are requesting a search warrant for the decedent's car that he was driving, with the hopes that the vehicle may contain some evidence that sheds light on this investigation. We will question any and all parties involved. The officers involved will be questioned, one of which is still undergoing medical treatment and has not had his appointment cleared to come in and speak to us. The other is scheduling it today to arrive within the next day or two with his union legal counsel. The 19th Circuit Medical Examiner's Office will be conducting an autopsy. We believe it will be this afternoon or tomorrow, and we will release that information, which we are able to, without jeopardizing this investigation. In short, we need our community's help on this case. We have heard statements, like all of you, of certain things that occurred. We will not base our investigation on hearsay or rumors. We have not had any witnesses come forward with firsthand knowledge of what they witnessed. Please, I ask of you, if you saw something, come here and tell us. Sunday afternoon, I personally walked the entire area where this incident occurred while my detectives were processing crime scenes. Yet no one has come forward to contact any of our detectives to give a sworn statement on what they might have seen. Rumors and gossip help no one in our quest for the truth. And again, we are looking to find the truth in this case. There are three ways in which information can be relayed to us. First of all, you can call our detective bureau and talk to the lead detective in this case, Detective Robert Barton. If by chance when you call the phone is not immediately answered, you can leave a message, and that number is 462-3230. You can also go to our website, and there's a tab there to remain anonymous and put a tip on our website. And our website is www.stluciesheriff.com. And lastly, you can call Crime Stoppers and remain anonymous, and that number is 1-800-273-TIPS, or the actual number is 1-800-273-8477. I want to close by saying, by all accounts, our investigation has revealed that Mr. Seymour was a good citizen. He had no criminal history whatsoever, was gainfully employed, and a graduate of our local Fort Pierce Central High School. By the same token, the officers involved in this incident are experienced, they're well respected, they have served this community well during their tenure as police officers, and some in our community are going to use this tragic event for their own narrative. And that's one thing that I urge them not to do. I want them to be patient. I want them to be calm. I want them to be respectful so that we can ultimately find out the truth of what exactly happened on Saturday night and bring closure to this investigation. I am open to some questions, but please try to keep them generic because of the fact we are still early on in this investigation. The last thing that I want to do is share with you something that might jeopardize the long-term part of this investigation, but I'm willing to answer any generic questions you have about this.
Do you know when you'll be releasing the officers' names?
You know, we have not interviewed either one of them yet in a formal setting. We hope to have that done by Wednesday, maybe Wednesday afternoon. As soon as their interview is done, I think we'll release their names, and then of course the police department will release their personal information and their histories of their service with the police department.
You mentioned that they are very experienced. Can you tell us, expand on that a little bit? Tell us how long they've been there, anything about them at all?
I know both of them have been there for years. Both of them are well known. Both of them are well known in the community, and they're well respected.
How many shots were fired in total?
I'd rather not get into that right now, Will.
Can you speak to the fact that there were 4 bullet holes found at the house where Mr. Seymour eventually died?
There was only one bullet hole to the best of my knowledge, Sean.
I saw 4 and 2 had markings on them.
There were some markings on the wall and one bullet hole. What's the other bullet hole you're referring to?
We saw 2 towards the back.
Those were markings.
Concrete looked like it had been chipped, and then there were 2 other holes.
Yeah,
One
was
like via air conditioning
that.
unit.
That was not a bullet hole.
Okay.
The one up high
And the
was.
one up high.
Correct.
So we can say at least 3 shots were fired in that direction then?
You could say that.
Would you be correct in saying that at least 3 shots were fired by the
Factually, I would be correct in saying that.
Is there a dash camera footage at all of the incident recorded by the police officers' patrol cars?
There is not.
What was we don't know what the initial traffic stop was for?
We do not know. We hope to get those answers when we interview the first officer.
Do we know how many times DeMarcus was shot?
We do not know that either. We will know on the completion of the autopsy.
Can you say if he was shot in the back?
Can't say that either.
And you say which officer?
Can't say that either.
Were the 2 Fort Pierce officers both males or male and female?
Both males.
Did both officers discharge their weapons?
They did.
Did Seymour shoot or have a weapon on him?
Won't answer that right now.
Did Seymour have anything illegal on him, drugs?
On his person, no. You know, when we do the search warrant on the car, that might reveal something, but we're just there to find evidence of what transpired in the shooting. But the search warrant will help clarify a lot of unknowns about the car.
Was Was Seymour in the car when he was shot, or was he out of the car when he was shot?
He was out of the car.
Do you know roughly how far away from the car he was shot?
I do not.
Do you know whether or not he was moving or fleeing at the time that shots were fired?
He was fleeing.
When we say flee, do we know, was he told to stop or freeze at any point?
Don't know. As soon as we interview our officers, we'll know all those answers for you. But from the facts at the scene, he fled in his car and he fled on foot.
So he was driving away first, creating the impact with that first officer, and then at some point got out of the car.
Correct.
I guess you'd said at some point the car did stop at some point, so he did put the car in park and then got out?
He fled on foot, correct.
Okay.
I guess in the initial news release, and I may not be fully up to speed, but in the initial news release, it indicates that there was this traffic stop and one officer was, I guess, partially run over or his leg was impacted, and then the second officer was kind of dragged or carried down the street.
In the car, that is correct.
Was that officer like in the passenger window, or can you help us understand a little bit more about how this officer was dragged down the street, I guess?
As soon as we interview him, we'll know exactly where he was, either in the car or hanging out the car, but we don't have those answers right now.
But there are essentially two separate scenes where
There-
the traffic stop occurred and where the shooting actually happened.
Were there any shots fired at the first scene?
At the first scene,
Yeah.
I'd rather not answer that right now either.
Can you tell us anything about whether or not that was proper protocol to fire a fleeing person?
I can't. That would be up to the police department's policies. But that's
So-
about,
Well,
go ahead. You
I
have
guess
one more.
For his,
One more question, Will.
can you, as much as you're willing to describe or detail, can you give us your best understanding of how the incident occurred, just so
The facts that,
I'm clear?
the facts that were present Saturday night when we arrived on scene was there were two active crime scenes. One where the initial stop occurred, where Mr. Seymour ran over a Fort Pierce officer, and the second crime scene is where the actual car stopped.
Wouldn't there be a log of what that first traffic stop was for? The fact that
You-
we don't know what it is?
Usually not. I mean, usually the guys just call in, I'm stopping a vehicle. There are certain officers that do put on the radio, I'm stopping him for, speeding, I'm stopping him for a traffic offense, I'm stopping him because he's suspicious, but we don't have that answer.
you
You
said
said
the
no-
interviews will be done on Wednesday. Do you plan on coming back here and
We,
disclosing all that
as soon as all,
information in due
as soon
time?
as I receive information, we want to share it with our community because what I'm sharing is facts that we have substantiated with the evidence. And I will keep updating our community because, as I mentioned, the last thing I want is the rumors and the false theories on what happened in this case to continue to have a groundswell in our community. We want to present the facts as we know them.
I guess the mayor has, I guess, called for calm to prevail and level heads to prevail in the city.
Same thing I am.
I mean, has there been any indication, or have you seen any evidence of, I don't know, civil disobedience or protests or anything like that, or?
As you all are aware, there was a protest at the substation last night. I believe it was calm. We do not foresee any other protests developing. I know that I've had a lot of community leaders call me asking clarification of what we know, which I've shared with them. And again, I would ask that our community be calm because my goal here is to get to the bottom of it, to find the truth of this incident. And we're going to do it thoroughly, we're going to do it professionally, and when it's done, I'm going to ensure this community that it was done right and the facts are the facts.
Are you surprised and/or disappointed that no one's come forward so far?
Very much so, because the night of the incident, I was on scene as well as most of my command staff, and we heard 12 people say they were eyewitness to this event. But yet, when we went and approached them, none of them would come forward. I personally gave out my business card. I know our lead detective gave out his business card. And as of today at 1:30, we have not had one call from any of those witnesses.
The two officers that did the firing, were they both the handguns, or were they rifle and shotgun, or both handguns?
No, with their handguns.
Just 45 caliber pistol?
I don't even know what they carry. I don't know.
You mentioned that there was no dash cam footage available, or that the cameras weren't rolling at the time.
There was none available that we're aware of. Okay, thanks. And we'll keep you updated as to when we're going to do this again. But as we receive the information, we want to share it with you and our community. Bottom line.